whether it's installing blue roofs to protect a hurricane victim's home, assessing structural damage to critical infrastructure such as fire stations.
They might be able to salvage the foundation, which would be good, maybe the underground utilities, but everything above ground level is totally demolished.
Or hooking up generators to provide temporary power for life-saving facilities. Coordinating all those efforts is a Herculean effort after any disaster. Doing so in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic makes those tasks that much more daunting.
Typically there's 4 teams that rotate turns, come into these different missions, and and this year just getting a full team together and getting enough people that were willing to come down and work in this environment was a challenge.
To cut down on the number of responders needed on the ground, the Corps of Engineers relied on drone technology to do assessments of roofs damaged by the storm.
U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Operation Blue Roof.
And also used reach-back support more than in previous disaster responses.
Luckily, we were practiced over this because really since March, much of the Corps of Engineers has been operating in a telework or a virtual environment.
For those responders who answered the call to come to Southwest Louisiana, safety precautions such as social distancing and wearing masks were put into place. With the lack of hotels operating in the area, FEMA stepped up to provide housing while keeping COVID concerns in the forefront.
We've also gotten great support from FEMA, who rather than putting up a big tent for us, built a base camp that has individual rooms and allows everybody to remain healthy.
Despite Louisiana having the highest per capita COVID-19 infection rate in the country, the men and women of USACE could not ignore the call for help.
Every one of them coming down to South Louisiana, knowing that there is the potential for COVID to be here. At one point, Louisiana had a very high infection rate. They've gotten that under control, but there's still risks associated with being here. And so I can't say enough about the incredible women and men that have come down here and served.
I didn't blink an eye, didn't think twice. They needed my help, and I asked to volunteer and got put on the list, and here I am.
You know, we chose this job so that we can help the people, and the only way we're going to be able to help them is to get out there. So we have to take the risk of going out there, and you know, if it's going to better serve the communities and people that need it a lot worse than us, then the sacrifices, that's part of it.
More than 300 volunteers from 40 different commands across USACE put their concerns about operating in a COVID environment to the side in order to help the residents of Southwest Louisiana put the shattered pieces of their lives back together. Mike Lash, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.